Man, we can do it again. It doesn't. I mean, I don't remember it, so it'll feel
I can make it feel
organic.
like the first time.
Yeah,
It'll
gotcha.
feel organic. Speaking of organic, I just got my coffee.
What
And
are your coffee
welcome
preferences?
to the second roundtable here on streamsemester.com. I'm Tom White. There's Josh Dempsey and Adam Russell. You can see them there. Hey, look there. Josh is playing with a new toy, learning new cameras, new gear. How's that going, buddy?
Man, I gotta say, I gotta get used to the turn because I'm looking at you here, and then the camera's there.
Yeah,
But
I'm just gonna look at the camera.
yeah, we probably should. I don't even do. I don't. I'm only gonna look at Tom when we talk about his hat, which we
Yeah,
will do here in just a
which we
minute.
will.
Gotcha.
But no, I'm having fun working on an ATEM Mini Extreme. The elementary schools in our district just got these, and I reached out to technology. It was like, hey, can I get one of these? Kind of play around with it, put together some resources for our elementary school teachers who are going to be using it. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of selfish. I want to create a pipeline so that these kids, when they come to high school, they already have some production experience. And I think that this is probably a good way to do that. And I fat fingered the button and went back to the two shot too early, but
It's
here
all
we
good.
are.
It looks good. So and this is truly organic in that last week released my thoughts on the new ATEM and the new camera and that kind of stuff. It's on the podcast and it's on YouTube. The ATEMs, I'm telling you, man. I told somebody earlier this week that Blackmagic has, in my opinion, probably done more in terms of from an industry perspective than anyone else when it comes to the education side of the world because their stuff is so simple and you don't have to have experience with a quote unquote real switcher in order to actually use it.
Yeah, and the simplicity is great, but it's also powerful for what it is.
Yep.
And that especially if you're going within their whole ecosystem. I think we may have mentioned this, but I mean, I'm plugged into a Black Magic camera right now. That's what this shot is. And I can go into the software panel and actually like do CCU. Like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm actually looking to get some of the new Studio 6Ks for the school here for our area.
So how do you feel about those as opposed to like wait, did you say Studio 6K?
Yeah, it's the one they
Okay.
announced last week.
Yeah.
I it comes down to that ecosystem thing, and one of the things that I'm asking for as well is their studio converter so that I can do the CCU things remotely. During a production, I'm not going to obviously do a bunch of stuff, but if I look in and see something's overexposed, to be able to just open up software controller and do that would be great. And I think the image on those cameras are as with any camera, only as good as your glass. And now with the EF mount, there's a lot more options.
Yeah. We use that at my church, and we got 8 cameras that are coming into the little breakout CCUs. They each have 4 on them, so
Mm-hmm.
you're adjusting 4 across it. And then we actually have 2 other that are wireless. There's no CCU option for that, so whoever's doing it has got to control it themselves. But it's a pretty impressive system, I have to say.
No, it really is. It's something where no matter what you want to do, you can do it. You just
Yeah.
gotta you kind of a la carte it. You get what you need when you need it, and that's where I think it's really powerful for education. Is you don't have to start with something that's got 8 MEs, and you're trying to figure out what the hell an ME is, and then how to actually manipulate it. You can just punch your buttons.
Yeah.
So tell me this: as someone who is not a technical guru, could someone who doesn't know anything about video production take this ATEM Mini, and how long would it take them to get up and going with it?
10 minutes
Really, that has no experience with
at
it.
its base level. I mean, it's not even preview program. You plug up your cables, you plug up your monitor, you plug up your output, and if you want camera 1, you punch camera 1. You want camera 2, you
Yeah.
punch camera 2.
Yeah, it is at its base level very simple.
And you can get super complex with it. I mean, they have the Constellation, which is, I think, 40 inputs. I mean, it's massive, and you can do, supersets, and you can do all the layering and all of that. But the true ATEM Mini, the one that's 195, I think, that's only 4 inputs, you can literally sit down in 5 minutes because it doesn't even have a multi-view. You literally, whatever camera you want live goes live. There's not even a multi-view.
Yeah.
So perfect for elementary schools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And
broadcast.
if you start at that ATEM Mini, the lowest, the big fat crayon of their line, and you go all the way up to their Constellation, it's the same software. It's the same exact software. So you really, if you get into that ecospace, you could really go all the way through and using the same. At my church we have the Constellation, and we have 2 separate advanced panels. One for switching for the live feed for the broadcast, and one for iMag, and it runs out of the same box.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's all networked. So even if we don't want to sit in the back room and we just want to switch from the auditorium, we just take a laptop, tap in, hit the IP, and go. So what else is going on with you guys?
Let's see. Obviously, school wise, did go see Creed the other night. Creed 3.
Yeah.
Don't know if y'all seen that yet.
Have not. How was it?
It was as good as Creed 2, which I didn't think was that great. I wish they'd have let me have a pass at it in terms of the screenplay. I could have, I think, made it a little better.
Or Chat GPT.
Or Chat GPT. Yeah. So several students are doing that lately in class, using the Chat GPT. But like, we did a script that had a lumberjack that falls in love with a city girl, and wasn't great. Wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But still impressive.
Yeah. Cool.
So, I don't know.
What's up with you, Josh?
Just hitting the wrong buttons here. But all right, so for me, still kind of, I want to say continuing a little bit of what I was talking about last week. Just kind of picking up with the kids from some of the stuff we've done before, and moving that forward. Put together a project I'm looking forward to, the Metro PSA, water PSA. You've probably seen that before. So I just kind of briefly mentioned that today. I was like, I'm going to be rolling out another project next week. And I got some eye rolls because, I'm just constantly hitting them with projects. I was like, y'all, hold up. You got a chance to win $1,000. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, all right.
And everybody's excited then.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll that out next week. And then this week is senior week for us. And it is just an exceptionally difficult time. It's like it's hard to maintain any semblance of a production schedule when the schedule is just, it's all over the place. Like, it's this one day, it's this other kind of schedule the next day. And then like the day before, they're like, oh, by the way, can you live stream this event? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, they're constantly throwing stuff at you.
Yeah, and so it was that was a bit of a challenge. Like, I could not pull together a crew to do that, but I managed to get together a crew to record it multicam, and now editing it multicam. And I wish I had just live streamed it because obviously that's so much easier. But I couldn't have communicated. These kids weren't ready. Like, I was pulling kids from other classes because all of my seniors are in the senior assembly. So it's just one of those things that's just like, I don't know, a lot going on, but it's always something new. The kids have to learn to adapt. Like, at the end of this program, if nothing else, they should be flexible.
And Cora got to wear pajamas on the show this morning.
Yeah, so I hate dress up days. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yesterday was Dress for Success Day. We should have that every day. I mean, for 2 reasons. One, the kids look good while they're on camera, but 2, I can't tell when it's not PJ day around here. Like, they're wearing PJs all the time anyway. That's a whole different conversation. But it's sad, man. These kids just.
But some would argue, at least they are here.
Yeah.
even
I
though they're
mean,
wearing pajamas.
It was
Yeah.
funny. I mean, I didn't even think about it. You know, I knew we were talking today, so I jumped over your show for a little bit and caught the end. And she's like, you know, it's pajama day. And then I looked and I was like, oh yeah, her shirt literally looks like she slept in it. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, you know. No, you know,
But
those are the things that people outside of the industry, just outside of education, don't understand. Is, you know, they think, oh, you have 90 minutes with them, you can do whatever, and I think that 90 minutes gets cut up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, it does. Um, but you mentioned that about her shirt, and this is a good chance to talk about this. I think every video production teacher needs a little steam like press, like steamer in their room. Get the wrinkles out of, if a kid's anchoring, you're like, hey, let me help you. You can get them to, change into something else, and you like steam that for them, or get the wrinkles out of a green screen, whatever it is. I realized that I need to make that investment.
How do you get the wrinkles out of a Bucky's onesie?
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are those are
These gotta
staying
be
in
hot.
wrinkles.
That'd be hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, those got to be awful to wear all day.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. He said, yeah. He said, my dad didn't think so when he saw the bill.
They're
I
like
was like,
Oh wow.
like
But
$150 or something.
is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It has a beaver tail.
Yeah, I mean, it's the full get up. It was pretty impressive. So for those who don't know, bluedevilnews.com, today is March the 8th. Hard to keep up with. Um, it is senior week. So my students were dressed up while they were anchoring, and one of them wore Bucky's PJs. So it's worth checking out.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Tom, what
We're
about you? What you got going on in there?
we're in spring break, so
Right.
it's really quiet. Like it's weird because Monday when I drove on campus, it felt post-apocalyptic almost. Like I drove
Yeah.
right by Sanford and there's no one. Like they're not. There's no one mowing. There's nobody blowing leaves. There's nothing going on campus. So I've been doing some little stuff. One of the things I'm working on, I realize in our training, the only way people can get trained is if we just throw them into the fire. So using OBS and NDI stuff, I have created a window on one of our PCs in the newsroom that has the program feed, the multi-view feed, the 3 cameras, the control room feed, and the prompter feed. And I'm working now to figure out how to get my director's audio out of our 1974 ClearCom system into that. And I've got it figured. I'm just going to bypass the ClearCom and just put some mics in the actual control room and go from there. But that's what I've been working on.
Tom, I got a quick interjection here. Apparently, everything switched over to me as the host. Are you recording?
I'm not recording on Zoom.
I am not recording. On
I'm
Zoom.
recording on OBS.
Oh, okay. I missed that. So we're good.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. That cute little Josh freaked out a
It's
little
like,
bit.
man, we got to rewind this and do it back.
I was like, I can't talk about coffee for the third time.
And I have not. And by the way, we just did the coffee thing because it was funny because we tried to record and then our screens froze. No, I did that the graphic that I guess as we're talking about it, the viewers are already tired of seeing. But it's that one that I sent you guys last week.
Yeah, it was cool.
So, yeah. So I mean, things here are dead, but it's weird. I told my wife last night we only have 5 weeks of class left.
Insane, man.
And I'm like, holy crap, this is almost over. And yeah, our last show is April 16th. So we're right at the 5-6 week mark. And I just I don't know where it went. I really don't. So.
That is fast.
Yeah.
That would take some getting used to.
Well, and as a part of their training, I don't get the students for the first month. Like we don't do shows for the first month. So February, 1 week in March, the last 2 weeks in March, and then 2 weeks in April. I mean, it really does fly through. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and we're doing a remodel of the newsroom. So I'm starting to kind of make plans for how I'm going to get all the equipment out of the newsroom and stored safely for the summer. in order to put it back at the end of the summer into a room that I haven't seen the design for yet, but we'll see it eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah, yeah. And I mentioned earlier that I'm trying to update our cameras. The cameras we have are pretty old in the studio, and the prompters, I kid you not. I mean, the engineers before me make me look really bad because we've got great teleprompters that are legitimately cardboard boxes with cloth stapled to them.
Uh,
They're amazing. They work great,
yeah,
but it's a cardboard box, and
yeah,
as long as the cover's pulled down, nobody knows. But if you have to go in and work on the camera, it makes it a little ugly.
yeah.
Well, I was going to say earlier, Dips and I haven't fleshed this out yet, but we're looking at this. My article I wrote for this coming week is called 4D filmmaking, in the sense that if you see these 4D rides now where you interact with them, you feel like mist or heat or something. And so my idea is, how can we teach student filmmakers to have 4D stories? And so what we're looking at doing is my article deals with this very short script of a guy that has this emotional moment, and we're going to look at how can we film that moment in different ways to show different emotions, using lighting, using sound, using framing, using different types of lenses. And so we're trying to put together a nice little session of that, and we're going to kind of film it and workshop it and try to give people some insight on what went well with it and what didn't. So it's more than just an article; it's a whole experience that teachers can replicate in their own classrooms.
Sweet.
So we're excited about that.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I just thought you were going to have Dempsey behind the screen squirting people, It's like the first time I went to one of those, you're wearing the 3D glasses and they squirted water on you. And I was like, oh, I get the fourth dimension now. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Do you remember watching 3D movies on television, though, as a kid?
with
You
the
had to go
glass?
to
Yeah.
the convenience store and get glasses.
The red and blue.
Mummy
Yeah.
or- yeah, red and blue. Interesting.
And you thought it was the coolest thing. And then you actually got now we're seeing real 3D and you're like, oh, yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah.
Your iPhone now takes 3D pictures and you're like, oh, well, look at there. There's some depth.
Yeah, we've advanced a little bit. That actually ties into the article that I just did, which was about AI, using AI in the classroom. And it's crazy. Like I think you mentioned ChatGPT just a minute ago. And I've got more and more kids who are kind of like, oh, wait, this is a thing. And so they're kind of starting to jump on. And the emphasis that I want to make is it's a starting point. It's not just it's not going to give you the end product, but it's a great place to begin the creative process. And so it's, I mean, I'm using it a lot in my room because it increases productivity for what we do, especially if you're doing a daily news show and you have the same announcements. So I can just kind of get Chat GPT to spit that out a different way. And then obviously I've got to have the kids go in there and kind of massage that to make it us, a little bit more. But it's great for that. It's a good starting point for creating prompts for short films or different things like that. And the more you get into it, the more help it can be. So I'm, really excited about that. And that's not to mention all of the editing things, which I do talk about in the article. So if you get a chance, it's
What do you mean
definitely. I mean, there's online AI editing tools now that can do what After Effects has done for the past 10 years in a fraction of the time. And it's absolutely.
Give me an example.
So in the article, I show a clip of a guy. He's standing on like a sand dune, the ocean's in the background. He's standing there with a surfboard, and it's a video clip. Like now on the article, it's just a picture, but it's a video clip, and the camera kind of moves across him. And I just went in and used this thing called in painting inside of Runway ML, I think is what it's called. And I just used a brush and kind of just painted over this guy and just click the button and he's gone. And the computer, the AI replaces the ocean background. And so now the camera is moving along. There's no person there anymore. So that's rotoscoping stuff that you would have done in After Effects that would have taken forever and a day, that now you just go into an online free application, paint the person out, and they're done. Now there's a little bit of like artifact at the bottom of it, uh, but it's way better. Excuse me, it's way better than what I can even do in After
Yeah, yeah.
Effects. So just some of the stuff they have, and Adobe's podcast suite, Enhance. Like a kid today was like, "Hey, I've got to record a voiceover." I was like, "Cool, take out your phone." He was like, "What?" I said, "Just take out your phone right there, pull up your script at your desk, do the voiceover, put it into this, and let's just see, let's just test it." So they did, and they like I could hear their reaction. They were like, "Oh my good," like they were just so excited by the fact that it sounded that good, sitting next to 15 other people, and they get a studio sound on their voiceovers.
So they ran it through the Adobe.
The Adobe Enhance, like
Enhance.
podcast.adobe.com/enhance, and it's mind blowing. So some of these things are incredible. So.
Yeah, the AI stuff for the editing is ridiculous, especially what Adobe's done. I mean, I thought content aware fill was insane, and now they've just taken it to a whole different level.
Yeah. Now that you can do it in video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember it when it's like Photoshop and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And now they do that in After Effects and you're like,
Yeah,
just-
it makes me so mad because honestly, every time they release something like that, I think about how many hours I've spent with the pen tool.
Yeah.
Just tracing something out and then it not being right or just looks bad.
So for both of you guys, you've got new things to teach your kids. My question was like, so what do you decide? Do you just go with the most relevant stuff and you have to learn it yourself? And then, I mean, is that the way to do it? Or you teach kids the tried and true method?
I think the process is the process. The technology is obviously changing, but the process of like how you make something is relatively, it's still the same. So you've got to have your story, and that's your script and your plan, and you follow that, and then you create the end product. The tools that you're using along the way to do that are changing. Like, I don't know, at this point, every couple of weeks
It seems
they're
like
changing. Like
Seems like
Chat GPT is literally updating every few weeks to become smarter. And so like just these tools are so fast, and it's yeah, I mean, just teach process, teach story.
And I think it's important too that we stay in front of them and make sure that we're not, for lack of a better word, caught with our pants down when it comes to these things, because they're only going to become more relevant and more accepted. Here at the university, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about ChatGPT and how it's going to impact student work and that kind of stuff. And they're already talking about how do we prevent things like from impacting the classroom. And I think the biggest way to prevent those things is to be in front of them and to know what they do and know the ins and outs of it. And then ultimately, an article that I'm going to work on here in a couple of weeks is being able to adapt to the changing world. And I think that's super important. I can't say this for sure, but I would not be surprised if we found a video teacher here in Georgia still using tape regularly.
Yeah,
because it's what they're comfortable with.
for sure.
And that world is well past where we are.
Yeah. You mentioned that about how at UGA, like Chat GPT is this conversation. And I remember, and I say this in the article about how I was listening to something in some middle of the country. I think it's some guy from Kansas was like, this is going to be the end of academic integrity. And my thought when I was writing the article was, not my problem, right? Like, when they get to college, whatever. But I was like, maybe I don't need to say it that way, but the thought is I want these kids to know how to use these tools. I don't necessarily obviously want them to use it in a way that is plagiarism or, like
detrimental to their.
Yeah, I want them to understand the process. So if they're using the tool as a part of the process, I am 100% on board with that. If they're using the tool to replace the process, that's when it becomes an issue. And I don't know how we prevent that. And I don't know that we really have to at this level in terms of production. It is a bigger issue when it comes to like papers, academic papers and stuff, though.
Yeah, ultimately for us, I think the biggest thing is the students. We've all had that really, really smart kid who couldn't make a video product if their life depended on it. And, they're great academically, they can do all of those things. But ultimately, like Josh said, the process and the final product and having that vision long term, I can't say that ChatGPT and the other AI tools won't get there. But, in order to get that footage of the surfer standing on the beach, you got to have somebody push the button. And knowing and understanding what's required to make those things happen, I think, is ultimately the task at hand for us.
Yeah.
I teased it a moment ago talking about adapting. My son got his driver's license yesterday, and I don't know if you guys are aware of what that experience is now. It's completely different than we know. The driver, the DDS person, never got in the car with my child.
Yep, it's automated. Yeah, or not automated video.
It's video. It's live streamed. They literally suction cup a 360 camera to the inside of your car. My wife was with him, and she called on my wife's phone, which was attached to the Bluetooth, and she gave him instructions on where to drive and what to do from her office.
Oh my goodness.
It really set me back. I was like, if the DMV, the worst place in the world when it comes to adaptation, can adapt to that level, can we, as educators, can we adapt to that level? Because it really was. She went down to the training course or whatever you call it, where the cones are. He had to pull forward, pull back, parallel park, and then she hooked him up with the camera, went into her office, made the phone call, and sent him out on the roads, and she's in the car with him. That blew my mind.
Yeah. What if that's a liability thing, though? Is it really that much more convenient or economical to do that?
I think it's a byproduct of the COVID era.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I mean, you had to find a way to get these people their driver's licenses, but you didn't want to be in a car with them. But that adaptation, now that is common practice.
Yeah, it is.
And that just, when they were telling me, we'd talk, obviously my wife teaches high school and my son's got friends, and they talked about it with other, and I was like, this can't be. And sure enough, man, it was. They just put a 360 camera with a bonded cellular unit to transmit the video back to their office, and she sat there and talked to him on the phone.
Man, it's funny because like I had a conversation similar to this today with a small group of students, and it all centered around church video, like church live streams. And one of the kids was like, yeah, he's like, ever since COVID, like we just don't have people at my church. Like we just don't have them there as much as we did before the pandemic. And I was like, I feel like it's the opposite at my church. I feel like since the pandemic, my church is more full. And then he was like, well, I have a lot of older people at my church, and it's a really old church, the structure and the people. And so he said that they all just kind of defaulted to staying online. So it's just kind of crazy how video, because that's the common element there. Video is more relevant now in so many areas of our life. Like we've got this, the church example, we've got the driving example. I did a job interview yesterday, and I haven't even had a chance to talk about this. And it wasn't
You want to put them in the air?
No, it wasn't for a I'm going to leave here job. It was for this thing called Stringer, and Stringer allows you to pick up jobs for video, like for news. And so
it's like the Uber of the news world.
It is, and it's actually really cool. And I'm hoping that I can get some of them on the podcast sometime. because it's a really cool concept what they're doing. But it's all online. It's everything they do is sent out to you. It's pinging your phone if you're in the area. It's like, oh, hey, this is happening near you. Can you get video of this? And just the technology and everything. Like, and he said during the interview, he said, if you've got a really good cell phone, he said the the best money that you can make is if you become a what they call a pro through Stringer. They can give you jobs where you take your phone, put it on a tripod, set it up, and they can do bonded cellular through that, like through their app, and you can set up a static live shot and just sit somewhere for a couple of hours and make hundreds of dollars. And I'm just like, man, because people want that. They need those live shots. They need the video that's like, it's so important to have these shots now. And so it's pretty crazy, like how the world is changing.
But they interview for it like an Uber driver.
Yeah, it was a Zoom interview,
Wow.
and it was fun. So,
Yeah, it is amazing how quickly video became the most important thing. It really, my mother's church sounds a lot like your student church. Lots of older people. The building's 100 years old. Like I'm trying to figure out how to like dig under the wall to get them a Cat 5 cable into the sanctuary so they can stream live. And but if it's not up, people are going crazy. And it is amazing how quickly it became all encompassing. And look at Instagram. Instagram is just video now. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a photo on Instagram that it wasn't posted by me of my food, because gluttony.
Even if I look for directions for something, I don't look for the actual directions. I go look for a video.
Yep.
That gives me those directions.
Yep. Absolutely.
And here's a crazy thing. I had never considered this, but do you know what media platform is taking off that they're expecting to be huge this year? Pinterest. I had no idea.
It's been waiting in the wings for a long time. It is so been ready for a long time.
They're getting 400 million views a month on Pinterest right now, but they're expecting that to go up significantly, so much so that you can now actually do a live broadcast through Pinterest.
Wow.
I just realized
So
that
they're
the
adapting?
other day. Yeah, they're adapting, and it's just it just speaks to this whole thing, and this wasn't a planned conversation, but like the fact that everybody is so reliant on video now, it's just it's crazy, and that's why I hope people read some of our articles and they can learn about some
Yeah.
of these things.
Yeah.
And
Good plug.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you brought that back around.
Very natural.
Yeah.
Lots of new content on the site. Lots of good stuff happening. Lots of real good classroom stuff. What you guys have put out, and then the industry side, the gear side with the Black Magic stuff, and then what I did with NPPA. Another one of those drops tonight, I think. The one where I teach you how to set up multiple stream keys inside YouTube. So if you ever need to multi-stream, if you need to stream to multiple YouTube, stream on your channel, multiple YouTube events at one time, you can.
yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. You know what? I needed that because last year I set up a live shot from our stadium. The Weather Channel was like, "Hey, that's an awesome shot. Can we use that?" And they were like, "All you have to do is just set it up to stay live." So I did, and then it ran Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Come in on Monday morning to start the show, and it's like, "Hey, you can't stream now because you're already streaming." And we're like, "Oh my goodness!" So having multiple stream keys would definitely be a big deal there.
yep, that comes out this afternoon. I want to say like 5 or 6 o'clock. I need to go double check, but that'll be there. And then I forget what the next one after that is, but yeah, that was as I sat there that last weekend and wrote as I was praying things broke and didn't break at the same time. Well, boys,
Hey, I want to give a shout out to David Limbach down in South Georgia, down in Camden County. he reached out to me today about something related to video boards, and it's kind of funny because I got that from him asking a question, and then I got immediately after that a an email from our booster club that was like, "Hey, here's what we want to do with the video board." But it was cool that he said that the podcast is going well, and so I just wanted to shout him out and
Yeah.
say thank you for, aside from my mom, like
Yeah.
at least we have one other
Yes.
somebody who listens.
My mom tried to listen. She didn't understand any of it. She
Oh.
told me because I didn't. My wife doesn't listen. She has no. I don't think my wife knows I do a podcast.
Mine doesn't.
She sees the
that's
stuff in the office. She's like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, yeah, David's a good dude. Glad to hear he's doing well. I'll harass him, give him a good go dogs later. Y'all got anything else? I think we covered a good bit.
I do think we need to talk about your hat.
Oh, my hat.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is.
Inquiring minds want to know.
It is Los Huepas. It's the Copa hat for the Worcester, Mass Red Sox.
Oh,
And Huepas means like celebration, good times. So it's fireworks. It's the 504.
oh.
Yeah.
I thought it said SOB.
No, that's the other hat. That's the one my
508.
wife makes me wear at
508.
home. Yeah, it's a 504.
You got to change that.
I think we can see there. There you go.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So
So have you actually been to these places?
not all of them, no. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you. Some of them I just buy because I think they look good, and some of them I buy because they're on sale.
I got you.
You know,
So is that kind of? I think we talked last time. Is that kind of your special kind of collection thing? If you're going to blow money, blow it on
yeah,
minor league.
It really did start. I was writing for another company, and they paid me in PayPal, and that was how they paid me. And then the minor league baseball shop accepts PayPal, so
Nice.
I realized quickly that I could buy hats and stuff and not have to get permission from the wife because she didn't know where the money was coming from or that it was
Oh,
gone.
man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Tom giving tips on how to get divorced.
I tell you what. Anytime I go to a fast food restaurant, I pay with my like separate debit card and then throw the trash away before I get home, so my wife doesn't see it.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, I'm straight up. I'm on the up
Straight
and up.
up.
I'm trying not to get in trouble.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
she obviously knows where there's $30-$40 hats in our bedroom now. She's like, well, where did?
But she probably thinks they're $15 or something.
No, she knows because
Oh, does she?
she asked me several years ago. You need to make an Amazon list. Da, 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 da. And I was like, MILB shop. I wear a 7/7/8 or an 8, depending on the brand,
Yeah.
on the cut. But yeah, she goes, oh, okay. And so then she went looking, and yeah, she saw. But it's okay. She understood, and she didn't care. It just it wasn't like it was hitting our budget. And I did buy other things out of that account that was for the family or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, looking to buy more of them soon.
Good. Hey, I want to give 2 quick things before we go. I went to the Plaza in Atlanta. Have you been there yet?
I still haven't. We
Tom?
were supposed to
No.
go watch
Predator.
Predator. Yeah.
Predator. And so this past weekend, they had a VHS kind of yard sale in the lobby, and they were showing a VHS version of the 1993 classic Leprechaun.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston, first movie. She's only recently admitted that she did it. So there was that. It was a really cool experience. And May 4th is coming up this year. So may the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
And the Plaza, I already bought tickets for this. Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
And so it's awesome. Like people in there get super into it. So if you're looking for a
Was Leprechaun the one? No, what was the one?
Warwick
That,
Davis is the
yeah, there's another one that I always get confused with Leprechaun that they did a part two. Troll. That's it. Troll 2.
Yeah.
That was devoted the
Worst
worst
movie.
movie. Yes. Nilbog.
Well, Leprechaun even has one. I think the third film is Leprechaun 3 in space. So like they escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Well, literally.
Elon Musk should give him a call.
Yeah.
All right, boys. It's been a good time. I appreciate
Fun
it
time.
as always, and look forward to getting to your articles and stuff and reading them and sharing them and getting feedback. And I guess we'll do this again next week.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, boys.
Don't talk trash about me this time. Now I have to find the mouse.
All right. Good seeing you, Tom.
All right, guys.
All right. See you,
Bye.
man.